Hello Internet, I am the Hero of Julios, once again with another episode of the Saltmarsh vlog. On this week's episode, we'll be talking about, playing stupid games and winning stupid prizes. So, it started off where we left off, with the spiders coming out of the chimney and attacking. I actually have a player in my party who, she's been with me since her last campaign, and she's afraid of spiders, like she herself as a person. So, to reflect that in her characters, she wants a wisdom saving throw whenever her character encounters spiders. If they fail the saving throw, their character is unable to do anything in the first round of combat. As a result, I decided for the fairy bard in the party to make a wisdom saving throw. Got a, I believe, 13 or 14, but otherwise I made the DC 15 in this case. And because of that, the bard was unable to do anything in the first round of combat. Unfortunately for the fighter, who was the only other person in the room during this round, that meant all 3 swarms of spiders rushed around him and immediately began attacking. Now, he does have an armor class of 17, so it wasn't like every swarm got in, except that one rolled a 19 and the other got a critical 20. So he took a ton of damage right off the get-go. I think it was like 20-something right off the gun. This was supposed to be a level 1 dungeon. In fact, the book even says only 1 swarm of spiders is supposed to be in that. But because I kind of dilly-dallied with the party and all that, they're actually level 4 right now. So I kind of upped the difficulty by adding more monsters to the mix. And as a result, there were 3 swarms and they did quite the number on him. Other than that, though, the party did manage to get into the room and they took out all the spiders and they continued to explore the house. They ended up fighting some giant centipedes, and these little fights are great ways of getting your party to expend their resources so that they're not at full power once they take on the boss. This is just Dungeons & Dragons 101. It's something every DM learns to do, so little fights just to make them waste what they have so that later on you'll be able to have a real challenge ahead of them in the form of whatever they're going to fight. Of course, this means that the party, having realized that they're going to be encountering insectoid dangers and everywhere they go, obviously decide to split in 3 different ways. So, great. The 2 members of the party, the sorcerer and the bard, decide to go down the trapdoor. The new paladin, the monk, and the fighter decide to go down the stairs that are just outside the kitchen. And the druid, by himself, decides to turn into a giant centipede and climb all the way up into the attic. Fortunately for the druid, in his centipedal form, he climbs into the attic and he sees a whole nest of sturges. There are 6 of them up there. And the sturges look down at him, and they're staring at him, and they're staring at him, and he makes a nature check and learns that sturges are only interested in blood. They're bloodsuckers. They really don't have an interest in a centipede. Centipedes don't have blood. So he is able to go unimpeded, wander through the attic, grab this porcelain doll with jade eyes, each eye worth 10 gold. So he is actually, he'll be happy once he learns how much the eyes are worth. And he sort of scurries off and he scurries down, and he'll catch up to what the rest of the party's dealing with. The bard and the sorceress go down the stairs, and they're immediately attacked by 2 bandits and a spy. The spy shoots a couple times at the bard shoots a couple times back, the bandits dash to try and get to the sorcerer, who twin spells and kills them both instantly. It is at this point that the spy, the ranged attacker in the group, decides to surrender, and then quickly realizes that these 2 are not going to let him live. So he runs to the secret door, pulls the lever, and tries to make his escape. Meanwhile, on the other side of the secret door, the other 3 party members have come down the stairs. They see a corpse on the ground. The 3 of them walk up to the corpse, and a swarm of rot grubs come out. Now, there's supposed to be 2 swarms, but, like I said, higher level, so I upped it to 4. Maybe I overtuned that a little, but it all worked out in the end. So the grubs swarmed over them. The grubs don't initially do any real damage, but once they bite you, they can crawl under your skin and make their way towards your heart, where they will kill you instantly and then cause another swarm of rot grubs to come out of you. A very horrible way to die. If, before your first turn ends, you manage to burn the spot the rot grubs came into you, you're able to burn that off and the grubs die. But if your turn ends before doing that, you will die because there's no other way to get the grubs out of you aside from a cure disease spell or similar effect. Fortunately, the monk got bit, they crawled under, and he managed to get burned by the druid, who did eventually show up with a torch. That worked out. The paladin, on the other hand, the grubs were crawling all the way up and they almost got to his heart before a nature check allowed them to realize, hey, if I use lay on hands, cure disease, grubs are dead. So that was close. Now back to that spy who pulled the lever, opened the door, and the very first thing he sees is a bunch of guys fighting some rot grubs. He tries to make a break for it before the paladin grabs him and asks him, hey, how do I get these things out of me? His response, use fire, because he doesn't know about the magic part. They try to get the fire, they realize they're too late, and that's when a nature check allowed them to do the divine heal thing like I said earlier. Anyways, they knock this guy out. They wait till the real fighting's over. They wake him up and they interrogate him. From here they learn that the rest of the bandits, smugglers, bad guys, they are underneath the building. They are in tunnels that are used for smuggling, and there is a boarded up door, which they ask him about, where there are 6 skeletons, each with a golden rib bone. Upon hearing golden rib bone, the bard and the druid are immediately like, okay, I want that, and they both head off. But the druid still missing a danger sense, because I warned him after the Sahagin incident, if you make a bad decision, I will ask if you're sure, but I will not stop you. And what happens will happen. They open the door. The bard looks in. Fairies do not have dark vision, so immediately the bard in the party was like, I'm not going in there, it's pitch black. The elf, the druid, he's like, I got dark vision, bolts in there. And I said, okay, you get in there about 15 feet before you realize there are 6 skeletons in here and it's a very small room. Roll initiative. So, of course, hijinks ensue. The skeletons down him in the first round and immediately start going after the rest of the party. They fight and they fight and they fight and they fight and they fight. And through it all, the druid is making death saves. First, the druid rolls a fail. Then, the druid rolls a success. Then, the druid rolls a fail. Then, I kid you not, the druid rolls a success. Everyone at the table is just watching, waiting to see what happens. I can't read minds, so I don't know who wants him to live and who wants him to die, because obviously this druid is kind of loot hungry and has been running into dangerous situations in the name of loot. I had already made it clear, the dice tell the story, so the final roll will decide the fate of this character and whether or not you need a new sheet. Wouldn't you know it, it was a success. The minimum number of rolls you can make, maximum number of rolls you can make to do a death saving throw. And he rolls it. 3-2. Victory. Alive. Unconscious. Skeletons are defeated. Alchemist skeleton showed up. They defeated him too. They got a bag of holding. They got a cursed lucky stone. They got ribs made of gold. They got a book on alchemy. All sorts of cool stuff. Druid, unconscious. His player says, I want the bag of holding. Everyone else tells him the same thing that happened with the Sahagin thing. Being alive is your prize. I'm hoping the lesson has officially sunk in, because he seemed to be a little more accepting. But obviously he's still new to D&D, so I'm hoping, but we'll see if this scenario comes up again. Either way, fun time for me as the DM, because the tension of death, and between you and me, a lovely viewer, I actually have never had a real player death. My first and only player death wasn't really a real death because it was a new player, and there were just a lot of other factors. So I've never had a real player death before. And this was not how I pictured it. Death by skeletons in a closet? That's kind of lame. Regardless, though, this is where the session ended, as they all planned to barricade some doors and rest for a long rest. Now, I ended the session before the long rest started, so we'll have to wait until next week to see if any unforeseen circumstances occur. Regardless, thank you for watching as always, and I will see you in the next episode. This is the Hero of Julios, Xing out.